Good afternoon, wherever you are watching me from. We started this series yesterday. We're talking about the power of your mind. The power of your mind. And then we gave an illustration of a good example of the people that use their minds rightly and they got the result was Isaac and then Jacob. So we are going to continue from today. Like I said, we'll continue today. Remember, we talk about how Jacob, how he separated himself. Remember when Abraham told the servant that they should help him to get a wife for his son, and then Bible said when the servant, when he came back, he saw Jacob meditating. He saw Jacob meditating on the word, and then Isaac also learnt it. He saw Isaac meditating. So that means there's something about meditation. There's something about, Pastor said you can actually tap the realm of the spirit through your meditation. So that means there's something about it. So Bible let us know that Jacob also learnt it from Isaac, his father. He got the same thing from his father. Remember what happened to him when he was living in the house of Laban, and what Laban did to him, and what he had to do, to deliver himself from where the state where he was. Okay, so we are going to continue with Jacob's creative imagination, and then you remember yesterday when the part where we read, where we talk about where Laban gave him cattle that are pure colors, and they expect him to produce the ones that have strips and all that, which was not possible. It wasn't possible. It's not possible. I mean, looking at it, you can tell that it was not possible. But through the power of imagination, he was able to come up with sticks, and on those sticks, he drew on them, make them look like red snakes and all that. And the Bible said that whenever those cattle, whenever they come to the river to drink or to meet, Isaac, when they come to the river to drink, and they also meet there. So what Jacob normally do is he will put the sticks in front of them as they are meeting. They will be looking at the sticks, and then as they are drinking, they are looking at it. And it wasn't long when they were reproducing. They started producing colors. They started producing the kind of cattle he wanted. They started reproducing themselves. Why? Because of the power of imagination through those sticks. Okay. So Jacob also learned the same thing from Isaac, his father. He had discovered the power of meditation and how to use his mind to create what he wanted. This was why, even though he suffered many things under his uncle Laban for many years, he came out very prosperous in the end. Before we see how Jacob did it, let's first establish the backdrop for his extraordinary story. He loved Rachel, Laban's younger daughter, and wanted to marry her. Laban said it was fine with him, but Jacob must serve him for 7 years before he could have Rachel as his wife. Jacob served the 7 years, and at the end of the period, Laban reneged on their agreement and tricked him into marrying Leah, the older daughter, instead. But Jacob wanted Rachel so much, and Laban knew this and took advantage of it. He presented Jacob with another offer. Serve me 7 more years, and Rachel will be yours. And that was in Genesis 29:27. Jacob agreed and served Laban for another 7 years, making a total of 14 years before he eventually had Rachel as his wife. Jacob continued serving Laban, who had over the period reviewed his salary, but not upward but downward. On 10 different occasions, the man was just a mean, dishonest boss. Well, one day Jacob went to Laban and said, "Uncle, it's time for me to leave. My wives are having kids and our family is growing larger. But for us to leave now before we become a nuisance to you, and to this place. Read Laban's response. If I have found favor in your sight, please stay here, for I have learned that the Lord has blessed me on account of you. Just name your wages, and I'll pay whatever you want. And that is in Genesis 20:27-28. Jacob agreed to stay a while longer and serve Laban. And now Laban tells him, I'll pay whatever you want. But Jacob saw through the smoke screen. This was the same man who changed his wages 10 times, now asking him to name the price. He had enough of Laban's dishonesty. So he replied, I don't want you to pay me anything. Just do one thing, and I'll take care of your sheep and goats. Here was what Jacob asked, and this is where we begin to see his creative mind at work. Laban and his sons were to take away all the spotted, speckled, and striped animals from the herd, leaving only the pure-colored ones. If those ones gave birth to any spotted, speckled, or striped young, they'd be Jacob's wages for his services as Laban's headsman. But Jacob and Laban knew there was very little chance of that ever happening. But Laban, being the dishonest boss, was very happy with the deal. No, he didn't have to cheat Jacob anymore. He figured Jacob had cheated himself with this absurd deal he concocted. Laban and his sons promptly took away the spotted, speckled, and striped animals and separated them from Jacob's head by a distance of 3 days' journey, leaving him with the pearl-colored ones. Now they waited to see how Jacob will pull this off and have his own livestock and support his family. Let's see how he did it. Jacob took him rods of green poplar and of the hazel and chestnut tree and peeled white streaks in them and made the white appear which was in the rod. And he set the rods which he had peeled before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs, when the flocks came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. Observe closely what Jacob was doing here. He wasn't carrying out a ritual, as some have thought or suggested. He was helping his vision in the same way God helped Abraham's vision by getting him to count the stars. Jacob got rods from poplar, hazel, and chestnut trees and made markings on them so they look like the designs on the bodies of the striped, spotted, and speckled animals. Next, he placed these rods where the animals came to drink and meat, because he was trying to help his vision of them bringing forth spotted, speckled, and striped young, and he thought it could happen if they meet in front of the rods. So he set his focus on this. This is how to help your vision. You meditate until your own mind is undated with the idea of what you want to see. You meditate until it got hold of your mind, until the idea of what you want to see came alive, until it became a reality to you. That's what Pastor said here. You meditate until your orbit took hold of that particular thing. That's why sometimes when you want to meditate and you are in your closet with nothing in front of you, it will be difficult to see anything. Start by reading scriptures or some other materials in the direction of your vision. I tell people, if you want to have a productive fast, get some books you will study during the period so your mind can be well focused. If you say you are fasting or meditating and you are not focusing on anything, then your mind isn't creating any picture. This is something you've got to learn. Jacob understood this. He knew that the things we see were not made of things that appear. Hebrews 11:3. And he set the rods which he had peeled before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs, when the flocks came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought forth cattle, ring-streaked, speckled, and spotted. It worked. Those poor colored cattle actually gave birth to ring-streaked, striped, speckled, and spotted young. Now watch what Jacob did next. And Jacob did separate the lambs and set the faces of the flocks toward the ring-streaked and all the brown in the flock of Laban. And he put his own flocks by themselves and put them not unto Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whenever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters. that they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. And that's in Genesis 30:40-42. Isn't this amazing? I told you Jacob wasn't performing a ritual. He had started out by placing his marked rod before the cattle, so that when they saw the rods while mating, they conceived their young with designs like those on the rod. But now he no longer needed the rods. This time he put the spotted, speckled, and ring-shaped calves and lambs before the adult ones, so that as they mated, they conceived such as the ones they were seeing in front of them. As the one in front of them. That reminds me of, we are in the ministry. I'm a member of Christ Embassy. And then, if you notice, anywhere you see a member of Christ Embassy, you can actually tell that they are members of Christ Embassy, because there's a way we talk. There's a way Pastor has actually cultured every member of this ministry. There's a way Pastor cultured. There's a praise. Come and get divine. There's a way